5. So anyway, yeah, we were supposed to do this like once every couple weeks, and then we ended up.
I think it started out once a week.
Yeah, once a week. Well, so it was, there was like so many Fridays in a row where it just ended up being me at the house, like drinking with nobody to talk to. And I was like, what the fuck am I going to do with all this free time? So then I decided to do this. And then we did the first week and it was good and it all worked out smooth. I got equipment. It was like all the pieces fell right into place. And then
life happened.
I can't remember if it was work. It was like the endless amount of weekends are available and we need you for, like, you don't have to do it, but we really, really, really would like you to. And then I think that was the first weekend. I think the first weekend was come make lots of money because we need you to make lots of money.
Oh no, you were trying to bankroll for vacation. I think that was the following week. You were trying to build up for vacation. You were going to work that weekend, and then furnace explosion happened, and then all weekends disappeared.
Okay. So maybe I did try to work that weekend, and then either way, all the weekends happen, and then in the middle of all the... Yeah, you're right. I was like, I think I did work a weekend. And then right whenever all the weekends happen, round 2 happened, which for me wasn't that bad. For Melissa, we ended up taking her to the ER because she felt like she was dying and she didn't know why she felt like she was dying. And I forget what they even thought it was. Meningitis.
Yeah.
They thought it was meningitis because she had such a bad headache and she was just so emotional and
I
so
can't
wrecked.
wrap my head around that. For over 2 years, everything has been COVID.
Yes.
Oh my God, you have COVID. This person has COVID. Everybody fucking has
that's the
COVID.
last
And
thing
it's
that
the
they
one
tested
thing
her
they
for.
didn't test.
They're like,
Yeah.
oh, it's probably this crazy disease that nobody ever gets.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. I mean, she didn't have a cough or anything, which that symptom was like the bottom of the list by the time.
Yeah, but like 6 hours before she got to the hospital, they were testing everybody that went through the fucking door, whether it was a gunshot wound or a broken arm
you
or...
have COVID. Oh, I can't do that.
So, yeah. Messes up the mic. Yeah, so she ended up having COVID. So then I ended up missing a couple days of work because she was just too wrecked to deal with the kid. So I took a couple days off to help with the kid or take stress off of her. And then as soon as she was like good enough to go, then I got it. And for me, it wasn't that bad. I was way worse round 1 with COVID, and she was way worse round 2 with COVID. But mine was just like a 102 fever for like 48 hours, and then I was good to go again. Just super
It's
fatigued.
like the weirdest virus, and I know, like, there's the different variants, and some are worse than others, but like I don't know, but you would think that that it would be easier for everyone the second time around, and that's just not how it is.
But they had different strains too. I mean, just
Yeah.
like the flu, you have all the different strains that make it hard to guess what flu vaccine to get that year or whatever.
Yeah.
I think when this is kind of my running theory right now, I think when you guys had that second wave, we had, well, it was since middle to end of November that we had it. And we were dealing with all the long COVID, post-viral, whatever you want to call it, all of that shit. We were dealing with that. And then I had about a 2-week period there in June where I felt pretty good. And then I got the Lyme disease diagnosis where I just like took a giant nosedive, whole body hurt, felt like all my bones were going to explode. It was fucking miserable. And started to come out the other side of that. And I had probably a week or 2 where I started to feel normal again. And then you guys had COVID round 2. And then all of the long haul COVID shit started back up for us. And I think we got reintroduced to it. And since it was already in our system, it skipped the actual
reactivated something.
it skipped the being sick part, so we didn't have any actual COVID symptoms, but all of a sudden all the long haul shit came back and it was cranked to goddamn 11. And even right now as I'm talking to you, I want to curl up in a fucking ball and go to sleep. Like, I am absolutely miserable every minute of the fucking day, and it doesn't stop.
That's disappointing to hear.
Oh, it's great.
It's wonderful.
5 stars.
I mean, yeah. Other than I don't know. I've had so many life-changing events in the last few years that it's hard to say what my body's doing. Today I feel really tired. Like, I wanted to take a nap instead of coming here.
I miss being tired so much.
Yeah. But the smell's still weird. I think there's anxiety issues that are related to that COVID because I just can't shake. There's something with my anxieties that I just can't quite shake.
Yeah.
It's like we've had, I feel like all of us have had anxiety to some extent our whole lives.
Yeah, 5th grade.
This is different. When this started, it was like nothing I had ever felt before. Like, normally I can pinpoint like what is triggering my anxiety, be it like an event that happened or something I ate, like I had too much sugar or like whatever, or I didn't get enough sleep. Either way, I can figure it out. And this just like, I'll be fine, and then it'll hit out of nowhere, and it just takes me completely out to where I can't function.
And you don't know when it's going to happen. Like, I might be, 30, 40 miles away from the house at work, and it hits, and like, oh my God, like, how the fuck am I going to drive home? Like, you can't function. Like, you just want to lay down. And she's dealing with it. I'm dealing with it. My dad's still dealing with it.
That's how your anxiety always is. Like, there's no rhyme or reason. It just...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. Like, you are through the roof with feeling like you're going to die. It's been like that since 5th grade. 5th grade. My whole life's been like that. So that part doesn't affect me.
Different.
But the thing that feels different now is like, it would come in waves. So you'd have this huge spike, and after a while it would die down, then you'd be back on normal. Like, it always feels like there's a hint of it all the time now, instead of just being these big spike panic attacks for no reason. It's just a continuous slight anxiety that never goes away.
I've read all kinds of articles and handful of studies just trying to figure out things, be it medication, supplements, whatever. And there apparently people, I think the UK is doing a lot more research around it than the US is for some reason or another. But people with mental health issues already are more likely to have the post-viral symptoms from COVID, like lingering symptoms, apparently. I don't know.
Probably. I mean, fair enough. I mean, you would think that it's kind of like a sickness, right? So sick people are more or more susceptible. Sick people are more susceptible whenever they get another type of sickness. So, I mean, mental health's essentially a sickness.
Yeah.
So it's not surprising that if you have mental health issues that you're going to have more complications with something that attacks your nervous system and gives people who haven't ever had panic attacks or anxiety attacks those. People that haven't had anxiety in years all of a sudden have anxiety. People that have never had anxiety get it and have anxiety.
Yeah. It's weird.
It is extremely weird.
I mean, it makes sense, but it's also like there's nothing else quite like it.
Yeah, because you realize how dumb we are. Like, everything fits in this box, and then you get this new one that doesn't fit in the box anymore, and you're like, what the fuck's happening?
Nobody knows what to do.
Just fucking wing it.
End of the world.
But in the grand, I don't know. In the grand scheme, I'm like, yeah, this is how I felt forever. Like, it's just normal for me.
That sucks.
I mean, I don't know. You smoke some pot,
honestly.
you figure out how to cope with it, and
I wish that was an option.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I miss high school weed so much. Like high school, you could burn 2 joints between you and one of your buddies, and like, yeah, you got high and you laughed and you ate stupid food and you had a great time. And now, like, if you look at a bag of weed for too long, you're not going to be able to do the shit tomorrow that you had planned.
That's probably because back then you were smoking the leaves and now you're actually smoking the bud.
Shit's just
don't
too
know.
crazy now. It's not even
Oh,
an
yeah.
option. Like, and
Yeah.
I don't understand how people nowadays, like, how do you start? How do you start doing that? Like, when we were younger and we first discovered it, like the first time you got high, like, you got high, but you kind of eased into it. And even if you got too high, an hour later you were okay. And nowadays, like, there's no casually rolling into it. It's just straight to your fucking face.
I don't know though. I mean, people smoke cigarettes for the first time and it makes you feel like you're going to puke and then you do it again. Like they probably just do it anyway. And
Yeah, I feel like I eased into it as a kid. You're like, at first you're in a room with everybody smoking it, so you're like getting that secondhand contact, and then they peer pressure you into taking a hit, and then you take the hit, and then you're also clam baking in it, and you're like, okay, and the next time you take a couple more, and you're getting used to it, and you're feeling it, and now you're just like, I used to do this shit all the time when I was a kid. You take a big hit, and then you're lost, or like I did, hadn't smoked in 10 years. Got a joint, took a couple hits. I felt pretty good. And I was like, well, if I felt good too, why not the whole fucking thing? And then you're on the fucking moon and life isn't real anymore. You're just in a stop motion picture. And you're like, why did I do this?
And it's all good until you feel like your chest is caving in on you or you forget how to breathe or
Yeah.
you can hear your heartbeat and you're trying to control it. Like all that fun stuff.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's my arrogance or is it really that much better?
Oh, it's that
It's
much
that
better.
better.
The last time that I was actually stoned, it was one small to medium sized puff, and at that point my back was hurting really bad. So like the couple days preceding that, I would take like a tiny puff and was like, oh, I think I feel something. I didn't feel shit. I didn't get enough. So this one particular day, I take this small to medium sized puff, and we're getting ready to go to the lake. Dad and I are going to go fishing down at Salt Fork, and I'm in the bathroom brushing my teeth probably 3 or 4 minutes later, and I just get fucking whitewashed by this feeling. And at first it's like, oh, there's that familiar feeling. It's been like 10 years. Like, there it is. Okay, this is good. Fast forward 5 minutes later, and it's like the most intense shit that I've ever lived through. And walking from our back door to the garage where the boat was, it felt like I was walking across a desert for like 8 days.
Yeah.
I get out there, and then our boat, there's a jack for the outboard motor on the back of it. So whenever you're traveling, it doesn't, break the back of the boat or fall off or anything like that. So you got to raise the motor up and put it on this jack. So I'm trying to push, and it's electronic. It's just a little push button. You just push it and it goes. Meh. I couldn't make my finger work to push the goddamn button. We get to the lake, and the whole way, it's probably a 35-minute drive to get there. Felt like it was a week. We get there, we get the boat launched, everything's cool. We start going across the water, and it's an unlimited horsepower lake, so you can, as soon as you get outside the buoys, you could haul ass across the lake as fast as you can go. Here I am, 3.5 miles an hour, going across the lake, zigzagging the steering wheel back and forth because it feels like I can't keep the boat going in a straight line. Like, to anyone outside watching us, like, it's just these two guys zigzagging back and forth across the lake at 3 miles an hour. I couldn't do it.
It probably wasn't even that bad though. Like it was probably normal because
I'm sure it was way worse than it felt. It felt like every zig and zag was like 40 feet one way or the other. And realistically, it probably looked like a straight line.
Yeah, because I think that most people drive better when they're stoned. Like you get drunk and you're all over the place, but like you get high and you're extra cautious.
Everything feels all your senses are heightened, so everything feels more intense than it is. A little bit to the left feels like a lot to the left, a little bit to the right. So you probably look spot on. They're probably like, God, this guy's so old. He just needs to get out of our way.
Just hurry up.
Model man.
But yeah, moral just to close out that portion of the story, I took that small to medium sized puff at probably 7 o'clock in the morning. When I went to bed that night at, I don't know, 11, whatever time it was, I was still fucked up.
Did you ever, when you smoked on a regular basis? Oh, hold on. I guess we'll answer this. Hello.
I'm on my way to you.
Okay. Okay, love you. Bye. She's coming to drop me off food. Have you ever had, like, say you smoke, like say it's a Saturday, you smoke, everything's relatively normal, not like that, but just normal, and then like 3 or 4 days later you have like you almost feel like you're in it again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a doctor and a scientist both, so my theory on that, supposedly the THC stores in your fat cells, and that's how it gets stuck in your system.
No.
And like when
if you're
when you do a
burning-
urine test, that's what they're
Yeah.
testing for, because it stores
Yeah.
in your fat cells. It's got to be some kind of lingering thing where it's like a popcorn kernel, and all of a sudden it's just like,
Yeah.
and it gets in your bloodstream and hits your brain, and you're like, oh. That's what I've always thought. I have absolutely nothing scientifically to back that up.
And that's kind of what helped me deal with my anxieties as a kid, is that it almost feels kind of like a disconnect from your body. When you have super high anxiety, it almost feels like you're disconnected from your body. You get the numbness, the things don't feel like, say you were to get in a fight or just anything intense would happen, you kind of go numb to it. But I get similar feelings whenever I'm high as well, where I can't feel hot or cold. I can't feel pain. Everything just kind of feels disconnected. So anxiety and marijuana kind of had a similar effect on me. Although the marijuana makes you laugh more than anxiety, you're freaking out. You're like, God, I'm gonna die.
It makes the same feelings feel okay.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, you're like, oh, this feeling of being detached from my physical self. This is normal. I
like
can cope
this.
with it. So yeah. Well, I was just used to it. I had before I was having these feelings for no reason, because nobody understood what panic attacks were, or at least I didn't at that age, and my parents obviously didn't either. So that helped me cope with that, because it gave me similar feelings, and I could control that more. So it gave me power over it, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I never thought about it like that. For me, like, so if I can hit the sweet spot, then it makes everything okay. Like, it, the kind of numbing out. But anything past that, and it makes it 10 times worse.
Yeah, very much complete opposite direction.
Oh yeah, I go too far, and I'm like, fuck, this is not what I wanted.
Yeah.
There is definitely a sweet spot, and unfortunately, it's hard to know that.
You
I'm just
can't
not-
find it
yeah.
like you can with a bit. Like, okay, if I have 3 beers, I'm gonna feel pretty good. If I have 4 beers, shit's gonna go downhill.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to measure. If you could get like the inhalers, how they have the metered dosing, if you could get that.
Oh,
Maybe
I'm
they make
sure they
that.
do.
Do they
Well-
make that?
You can get it in every other form, so I wouldn't see why
That'd
not.
be perfect.
I would think as things get legalized more, it will be easier to. Everybody will figure that out better. Like you'll be
Yeah.
able to go to the store and say, I need this much because I know that that's what level I need to get at, and it's going to be regulated more. You're gonna know exactly what you're buying. You're gonna know exactly, okay, I like this brand, and I know I need this much of this brand to get me to this level. Like if I'm drinking, for example, it takes X amount of drinks. Where if I'm drinking, it takes X amount of drinks, or this amount in my cup. It's a lot more easy to regulate when you know exactly what you're getting. Like
Yeah.
right now
And it's
when you're just buying
consistent.
from whoever, you don't know if you got in your cup.
doing that.
Yeah. I mean,
If you were.
if you were hypothetically doing that, you don't know if you're getting light in your cup. So then you're taking this and you're like, whew, that was. I thought I was getting 12 ounces of this, but I got 12 ounces
Yeah.
of that, and you're on the fucking moon. And you're like, that's not what I ordered, but I guess we're fucking here.
Yeah.
So then you're dying.
Thought I was getting a seltzer, and I got a. What are we?
Straight shot.
Yeah. I didn't want to name drop there.
Yeah. Well, so I accepted it whenever when we did this the second time. Well, I plan on being on like number 14 by now, but anyway, number 2, that I worried about what I said more the first time, and I thought that made things choppier, so I just figured I'd just say whatever, and then I'll learn how to edit beeps in,
Yeah.
because
That's true.
probably should do that anyway, and then it would be a
That'd
lot
be
easier
easier.
and a lot smoother, I think. I don't fucking know, to just throw some beeps in whenever I say names, like what I did earlier.
Yeah.
So, and like name dropping friends and stuff like that, I think that would just be easier than trying to tiptoe around the name.
I think so too. I agree. Because it just makes everything not flow well.
Because then you have to pause for a second
Yeah.
and think about what you're going to say. I just don't think that that's going to go smooth.
Yeah.